time for round 2 of season 13 of a GT3 championship hosted by Apex Online Racing. Before we get to the round at Donington, let's have a quick recap of where we are with the Drivers and Teams Championship. Artem Reshutko came away with victory at Valencia, so moved to the top of the table with maximum points. JP McKinley from Celtic Bromance came in second, and Furkan Hosman from Assetto Motorhersteller came in third. Anthony Husey was 4th, Philip Reuter for Manuel Rutter Racing Academy was 5th, Marcel Krasek was 6th, Ben Foster was actually 8th, but he's 7th on the table because of penalties to Stephen Carey. Felix Mizak is 8th on the championship, Jesse Halen is 9th, and Steve Carey with those penalties for Celtic Romance, he dropped down to 10th on the table. Looking at the Teams Championship, Celtic Bromance, McKinley and Steve Carey are top of the table with 126 points. In second place, Amino Assetto Motorhersteller, Furkan Hosman and Berke Aras. Manuel Rutter Racing Academy in third, Philip Reuter and Jonas Cornwall. Jonas has been moved to a faster tier though. He was incredibly dominant at Valencia, so has been moved up to a faster tier to better suit his speed. Gently Bentley Racing, Paul Martin and Manuel Duque are in 4th. Beeswax Racing, myself, Steve Pesek and Lord Nem are 5th. Hexagon Nation in 6th place, Chris Jenkins and Tobias Harkinson. And Fuzzy Llamas, Viking Rap and Stuart Pietzka round out the table. So let's get on to the action at Donington. Welcome, you join us for round 2 of season 13 of a GT3 championship in Assetto Corsa Competizione, hosted by Apex Online Racing. This is tier 6, drivers are lining up now for the start. Masij Kresiek took pole with a time of 127.835. McKinley took second. Jesse Halen took third, but it's the Beeswax Racing boys in 4th and 5th. Lord Nem and myself an unbelievable 5th for qualifying. Highest qualifying I think I've ever managed, but the lights go green and they're away, and the Porsche of Kresiek is going to try and hold the inside of the first corner. McKinley on the outside, really pushing, trying to get round, but doesn't make it, but does avoid any contact. The Aston Martin of Halen in 3rd. Lord Nem holds on to 5th, and Lord Nem holds on to 4th, and I do hold on to 5th. Got Ramshield down in 6th place in the black Porsche. The crane of curves, and McKinley just avoiding contact there. Up the front of the field, definitely away cleanly on the first lap. Through the cleans and up towards Coppice. There we go. And it's on to Starkish Straight, leading up to the very difficult left-hand chicane into the hairpin. Little bit of a gap opening up there for Kresiek. He'll be pleased with that. A lot of pressure from McKinley there in the first couple of corners. Small gap then to Halen in 3rd place. Lord Nem holding on to 4th. Himself holding on to 5th. Ramshield under some pressure behind from Levinsky. Around to finish the first lap, and certainly the front half of the field looking intact. Redgate in one piece again. A bit further down the field with Willis, P14 at the moment. Again, all looking clean at this part of the field. A little bit wide here. Wrap down in P20, trying to get through Fuzzy Llamas. Out front though, Kresiek trying to ease himself away from McKinley, but McKinley only just over half a second behind. Nearly the gap to Halen already, nearly a second. Chicane he goes down in towards the hairpin. McKinley still right on his tail, but the gap really opening up now. Halen over a second behind at the end of lap 2. Leaders pulling out a gap, coming under some pressure from Lord Nem from behind is Halen. have a little peek. Oh, there's a collision there. Halen forced wide by Lord Nem going into the second hairpin. I'm not sure how clean that may have been, but Lord Nem has driven away, and I'm trying to follow him through the gap. The Aston's got the inside of the corner, so won't be able to get round there. Stuck behind the Aston Martin. Lord Nem through into third. Beeswax Racing. A little questionable. Not giving the place back, and here's the Rozzers. He needs to put his flashing blue lights on there, and then of course Halen would have pulled over immediately. The police. Out front, Krasiak still under a lot of pressure from McKinley. But with that little coming together between Halen and them, now the gap down to third place is over 3 seconds. So already Krasiak and McKinley a long way ahead of the rest of the field as we're into the third lap. Halen trying to stick to the back of Lord Nem. Trying to probably get through, hopefully, and retake that position back. Self dropping back a little bit from Halen. Now 0.7. There's over a second to Hosman in the Porsche 228 in 6th place. Looks like something did happen to Ramshield. Is right down the back of the field. There's a bit of damage on that Porsche. There's another car rejoining there. One of the Ferraris. There are many. Out front, Krasiak trying to open that gap on McKinley. Does open up car length or two, giving us a bit of breathing space, but still under a second. Halen has got past Nem. Going through the hairpins. So the gap now 4 seconds though to the leaders up ahead. Lord Nem unable to hold on to that lead once he got past the Aston Martin. Gap 0.6 pretty quickly. Meanwhile behind I'm closing up on my teammate. Desperately trying to get away from Hosman in the Porsche 228. Lord Nem keeping up the pursuit. You see the two leaders there in the distance, already nearly 4 seconds clear of the rest of the field. Tight battles all down the field. Lord Nem trying to hang on to the back of Halen. Myself for Beeswax Racing. Also, Lord Nem is my teammate, just half a second behind. That gap for Hosman is not 1.2 seconds anymore. I'm going to certainly blame Lord Nem there for not going quickly enough and allowing the Porsche of Hosman to catch up with us. It was 1.3 seconds, and yet by the next sector, it looks like it's 0.6 of a second now at best. The BMW of Nem getting a bit defensive. And that gap to Hosman, correct, 0.579 now. 3 of us coming together. Halen pulling away. The gap now between Nem and Halen is 1.3 seconds. Gap behind Hosman though. Levinsky is in a bit of a gap on his own. A nice gap behind him. Rishodko, the winner of round 1, down in 8th position this week at the moment. Tom Griffiths in the number 14 BMW is in 9th place. He's got Śmizak though, and the number 30 Ferrari right on his tail. Go around the bottom of the course. Down the Starkish Straight towards the chicane, through to the first of 2 hairpins. But we're trying to get a look there at the inside. Śmizak is about to pull away then, but we'll stay with this. Griffiths has got the better line for the next hairpin and has pulled ahead of the Ferrari. Can he do the switchback in the Ferrari, get a bit of drive out the corner? Oh, he's caught the curb and a bit of the side of the track. I don't think he'll get good driving. In fact, he's under threat instead from Pietzke in the 81 McLaren for Fuzzy Llamas. But he's not close enough in the McLaren. So I think Tom Griffiths lived to fight another day there. Schmizek had to get defensive. And Willis in the background sniffing for an opportunity. The gap still pretty small. Krasiak out front has suddenly broke the elastic, it seems, to McKinley. The gap suddenly growing to 1.254 seconds. Looks to me like McKinley's pushing hard there to keep that gap down. Around the top of the course and coming down the back straight towards the chicane and the 2 hairpins. Halen now 4.4 seconds adrift behind, then a huge gap. Lord Nem 1.7 seconds. The gap, McKinley has closed that gap up again by a second, so must have made a small mistake. Quickly recovered. Behind Lord Nem, little train forming. There's Lord Nem, myself, and then Hosman. Get on for an opportunity to get through. This race will be an hour long, mandatory pit stop. Weren't sure of the weather. It was set for potentially changing, but it's so far the weather's been okay. It's reasonably cool. Nowitzki slightly out of touch with the three ahead. Oh, somebody's gone really wide there in the field. Is that Tom? It is indeed. Tom Griffiths went really wide in the hairpin. That's let through. Bzika, Willis and Reshodko's already through. Oh, and Tom's having a mare there. Schmizek's gone through on him as well. It's down to 12th place. I don't know about... I'm driving the Ferrari this season, but every time I'm behind a BMW, doesn't half seem to be sliding all over the track. And Tom came out worse there, going through the final hairpin at the end of a lap. Very wide on the grass, tumbled down the order. He's catching the curb again there. Needs to refocus. Try and catch up with the cars ahead of him, get him under pressure. That looked like a mistake from Willis there in the Audi, you know. Zika, yeah, the fuzzy llamas in the McLaren. Oh, that was a bad one. They drifted into each other. I'm not sure who, maybe to blame. Somehow, Tom got in front. What a move. But Zika comes back at him. Well, they did seem to drift into each other on the straight, around the hairpin. Oh, there's another tap. I was a bit keen there, I think, to be fair to that Lamborghini that was behind. Brzezinski stuck his nose in the hairpin and spun Zika out. Trying to recover, but that's a slow one. He's lost a lot of places there. He's dropped down the field. A lot of drama there midfield, and a few drivers perhaps been a bit too keen to stick the nose in the wrong place. Tom somehow comes out of all of that back in 11th, so he's only net dropped 2 places from that disaster a couple of laps ago, but he's got everybody hot on his heels now. You have Tushkik in the 195 Ferrari. There's Kuski, who we just saw clipping. Zika, sorry. Naris trying to hang out the back of this group. And we've got Studa, Vada, sorry, and Viking Rat. Out front, Krasiak still holding on to that 1.2 second lead over McKinley. These two now 4.5 seconds clear of Halen in 3rd place. He had that one little fight with Lord Nem where he dropped behind him for 1 lap, and since then he's now got that gap nearly up to 2 seconds. Gaps are starting to open up as the race proceeds. So now I will quite clearly state here, I was falling over Lord Nem at the start of the race where he was just not going quick enough, and that you see the BMW there sliding again in the hairpin. But now the gap between Lord Nem and myself for Beeswax Racing is over a second, and I've got over a second gap on Hosman behind, so it's not much. Hosman closing that gap up just at the end of that lap. If I recall correctly, I was quick in one sector and Hosman was fast in the other, so the gap kept yo-yoing. Behind Hosman, who makes the 6th place out of the lead, it's quite a gap, 2.2 seconds down to Reshodko, again the winner from round 1, so currently leading the Drivers' Championship. Levitsky, I'll get it all right one day. Is another 1.4 seconds down in the Mercedes. Not a popular choice for this tier. I think Levitsky's in the only Mercedes. Mizak in the number 30 Ferrari in 9th. He's having to go at the Mercedes here. He's trying to get alongside. Coming down the straight, the Mercedes will be trying to hang on for the inside of the chicane. It'll be very tight. Oh, I was very, very brave of Mizak there to go across the front of the Mercedes like that. He really did trust in the other driver. Would have been too easy to have caught the back of the Ferrari and spun him out, but good pass in the end by Schmijak. Managed to out-drag the Mercedes going down the back straight, so that'll be him up to 8th place. Levitsky down into 8th to 9th. Willis sniffing in the background in the Audi. Schmijak's got a bit of work ahead of him. The gap now is quite substantial up to Reshodko. It should be about 3 seconds. 3 seconds gap to close to Reshodko, who's in 7th. Gaps are stabilising. Krasiak is now 1.5 seconds over McKinley in 2nd place. Nearly 5 seconds is the gap to Halen in 3rd after just into the 10th lap. And Lorden is 2.5 seconds behind Halen, and it's 1.5 seconds to 5th place myself. Hosman is just 1 second behind me. Oh, I've managed to ease a little bit of a gap out, but I'm not there yet. Reshodko has gone through to 7th. So he's gone through to 7th, and he's really closed the gap up quite quickly to the back of Hosman. It's now just 1.78 seconds, so he's really turning the speed on to try and get into the front of a race. Schmijak we saw going through on Levitsky. He's trying to hang on, but I think the gap's opening to the Mercedes behind. Schmijak 4 seconds on Reshodko. I think Reshodko is making a really big push here. Schmijak's unable to match the pace. He's nearly got a second gap though on Levitsky. He's probably looking more over his shoulder because the Audi of Willis is breathing right down his back of his neck. Tom Griffiths still hanging on valiantly after his little tour across the grass earlier on. Is now just 1.8 seconds behind Willis and just outside the top 10. Was showing Aris hot on the tail of a Lamborghini. It looks like he's fallen behind a little bit in between the sectors. Yeah, the gap is now over a second. Viking Rat trying to hang on to the back of a Ferrari ahead of him. That gap too big to be much of an attack mounted at the moment, and the gap's fairly large going down the rest of the field. And Philip Reuter in P22 in the Porsche. Brave choice, difficult car to drive the Porsche. So be a bit of a bad ping there from the McLaren of Martins just in front. You can see it sort of skidding across the track, so that must have been quite frightening for the Porsche. Ferrari as well behind Reuter of Tucker, that's also pinging around a little bit. So Reuter's having a great old time there trying to figure out where the cars might be. Some bad pings for some drivers down the field, making life really difficult. Reuter's really close enough to attack McLaren, but I think he might be concerned about where it might be when he makes a go. His livery there, featuring Aoalo. The hairpin, not close enough to the McLaren there to have a go. McKinley, meanwhile, up front, trying to close that gap back into Krasiak. They're into their 12th lap. It's back under a second again. Halen to get into the next sector is currently going through the Craner curves and through the old hairpin. And he's holding it under 5 seconds. Still a long way. Lord Neymar slowly falling back from Halen in 4th place. I'm still hanging on to 5th. Would be my best result for a long time to take a 5th place. But we've got a lot of laps to go yet. Hosman in 6th. He's fallen back slightly from the back of my Ferrari. Reshodko closed in on the back of Hosman, but it looks like it's been heavy work of it since then. Schmijak was 4 seconds down, but is now just 3.6 seconds, so it looks like Reshodko's got up to the of Hosman, but just far enough away. Perhaps he's getting some disturbed air off the back of the Porsche. might be affecting his handling. Osman's getting closer and closer to the 833 Ferrari for Beeswax Racing. A tight battle to hang on to the right positions at the front of the race. Shotko dropping back a little bit. I think Osman's making a bit of a push here. Down the crane of curves up towards the old hairpin. Lord Nem still quite within touching distance as well. Back straight towards the chicane again. No change in the order. This is one of the closest battles on track. Arras still stuck. I think he may have got past somebody. It was Reuter we saw stuck before, wasn't it? And now he's on his own, so there has been some movement further down the field. Unfortunately, we can't follow everything at once. It's quite a train. Reuter, Ramshield, there's a bit more of a gap there. I think Reuter's pulled away more than that 0.5 from Ramshield. There's Ramshield, Martins, Tucker, gets all stuck together, trying to find a way past. It was a difficult track to pass at. It was Donington. It really was a challenge. Osman still trying to carry this fight to himself. Lord Nem must have made a mistake because the gap is now less than a second. Raziak still out front, gap 1.75 seconds to McKinley. Halen now 5 seconds in drift, very much in no man's land in third place. As Lord Nem is now over 4 seconds behind the 433 Aston Martin. A little train forming behind Lord Nem. It's two Beeswax Racing cars followed by Hosman in the Porsche. Rishodko and the 925 Ferraris starting to lose touch with this group. It's now 1.4 seconds adrift. Smizak was closing in a little, but he's struggling to close the gap himself. He's 3.6 seconds behind Rishodko, but again, he's very much on his own. Levitsky, the Mercedes he overtook earlier, is dropping further and further behind. The gap now 1.2 seconds. So the top 8 really trying to get a bit of a gap on the rest of the field. Shogko kicking up a bit of dust there coming out the hairpin. Lord Nem from the front of the picture in 4th place. Managed to pull away a little bit of a gap over 833. It's still under a second. Osman breathing right down the neck of the Ferrari. Trying to force a mistake. It's not hard to do a mistake on this circuit. Have a good look on the inside as they come up towards McLean's. The Ferrari looks a little unfazed. Has to carry the most speed it can through the corners. Gets onto the back straight up towards the chicane and the double hairpins. Complete 15th lap of the race. We're nearly halfway through, I think. I don't remember how many laps there were. It's an hour-long race, though. No, we're not that far in. We're only about 20 minutes in. 1/3 of the distance completed, really. Still a very tight battle from 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Smizak, I think every time we get involved in a bit of a fight ahead, gives Smizak a little bit of an opportunity to try and close in. He's really moving some. Levitsky now is 2.2 seconds behind Smizak. You see everybody almost in one shot there. There goes Lord Nem, just ahead of him. Smizak's in a little bit of no man's land. Levitsky's trying to hold off the Audi of Willis. Tom Griffiths, all composed. The try and pretend nothing happened earlier on when he was off on the grass. I'm sure if anybody asks him. So big gap's opening up further down the field. Maras still trying to hold on to the back of Viking Wrap. P15 and P16. Choris. Suspicions about that name. He's in P18. Porsche. Steelco, not seen Steelco in a long time. Oh, and looks like the Lamborghini may have got off. Only pointed to the pits. So Rukanishki in the Lamborghini looks to be probably dropping out of the race, I think. Oh no, he's underway again. I don't know what happened there. Very early for a pit stop. Perhaps he had damage. And we just missed it. And the camera just caught up with him in the pits. And it was a proper pit stop and not a teleport back to the pits, which will give you a big, big penalty. Krasiak goes through to complete another lap. He's into his lap 17 now. McKinley not too far behind, 2.5 seconds. So the gap has opened up a little bit for him. Halen really out of touch now, I think. 5.8 seconds. Something will have to go wrong for the two leaders. They give him much chance to catch up from Lordnem nearly 6 seconds down on Halen. So the front three really moving away from the rest of the field. The Ferrari, the Porsche, and now the Ferrari Roshodko definitely on the back of this group. Oh, I can pick on Lordnem at my leisure after this race to complain about him forming a bit of a train there and holding up the team. It put me under incredible pressure because Hosman was constantly behind me for the first half of this race. Mijak trying to get back in contact now. Less than 3 seconds is the gap for Mijak behind. Go down the back straight towards the chicane and the hairpins. Mijak has the advantage of having no pressure of cars around him, really. Take the chicane at full speed. Not worrying too much about what's going on around him. Roshodko definitely latched onto the back now. The gap just 0.5 of a second from Hosman to Roshodko. Into the pits goes Hosman. He's gone for the undercut. Oh, it's a very apt name there. B has got on the name there. Well done. So he's gone for the pit stop early. He's gone for the undercut. Eases the pressure, but he's almost instantly replaced by Roshodko. 1 second behind. Early pit stop, I think, for Hosman there. Definitely going for a bit of a strategy call. About 5 minutes too early, I think, for halfway mark pit stop. Roshodko closed up very, very quickly on himself in the 833 car. Going down towards the chicane. Through and up towards the first of the hairpins. Back markers now being encountered. Back marker just ahead of Lord Nem there. One of the Ferraris. P31. Carson. Porsche coming out from the pits as well. Is that right, sir? No, it's not. So it must be Ramshield. Carson goes off there. But rejoins. And he must be getting blue flags. His leaders are coming through. So I'm under a lot of pressure from Roshodko. We've got Carson and Ramshield sort of racing each other. Well, I've already been balked, and that's given Roshodko an opportunity to get up the inside. So it looks like in the end it was back markers that may have cost us. I've just managed to defend there from Roshodko. Going into Coppice. We really need Carson to pull over here. He catches the grass as well, which will slow him down. But he needs to ease off Carson. He's got the leaders coming through, and he's not easing off. He's going through the chicane at full pitch. Shudko has a look, puts me off my line a little bit, because I know he's there, and then he gets up for the inside. And I think, to be fair to say, I think Carson cost us a place there by not yielding as he could have done on the back straight. Rashudko gets the inside for the hairpin. So Rashudko goes through for 4th. I drop down to 5th. Carson's still pushing. He's trying to get onto the back of Lord Nem now. And we understand that Carson will want the race Ramshield. Lord Nem dives into the pits. He's had enough of the back markers being around him. But, you know, if you're down at the back of the race and the leaders are coming through, perhaps you should think about respecting the leaders. Pushing too hard now in 833, catching a bit of grass, and Rashudko pulls away. Focus really needs to be now on getting good lap times before Osman gets back out with that undercut strategy and may end up ahead. So hanging on to 5th for the longest time, currently showing 3rd. There are at least 2 drivers ahead that have pitted. Krasiak is stayed out. McKinley has pitted, it would appear, and has rejoined the track and has already completed the end of his next lap. It's all happening at the front of the race. Rashudko is a long way down on Krasiak, but quite a few of the leaders have now boxed and out again. It's time for a pit stop. I don't know what I decided to do in the race, but the wise decision would be to pit now. I've lost the position. The tyres are probably quite worn out. Probably better to box now and then try and get out, see what we can do in a clear, hopefully a clear track. One thing missing from ACC, it doesn't really tell you, if you're going to come out in traffic or not. And yep, I do box. So Beeswax Racing 833 also pitting in. And I think the leader's in the pits as well. So Rashudko should probably go through to lead the race shortly. Krasiak is in the pits. There he is, serving his pit stop. So where is McKinley? Going for the first of the hairpins. It's going to be pretty tight because Krasiak's still not moving. I love the camera here. Thanks, ACC. Just moving now. McKinley into the final hairpin, so he'll be just in front, I think. Krasiak. Yeah, he's back up to speed. He's going down the crane of curves. And McKinley just crossing the line now. So quite a big gap there, actually. Krasiak's done really well there out of the pit stops. Rashudko next really to box. Beeswax Racing car just in front of Tom Griffiths, so that's not great stop. I think, is it Tom? Second has a BMW really. Lord Nem currently showing 17th. Savuda nowhere near. Not that many BMWs. I can see them. It was Tom. Out just ahead of the BMW of Tom. Joining 14th, gap there to Lord Nem. Śmieżak. Don't know if he's pitted yet, but he was just behind us, so it looks like I've had a bad in-lap and pit stop if I'm behind Śmieżak. This did not work out well. Rashudko is in the pits now. And the Rashudko had only just gone through on us. And Osman looks to be ahead of Lord Nem. So Osman's really cleaned up with that undercut. Will all change at the pit stops. Osman did pull off a master strategy there. Lord Nem ends up behind him. And it's Śmieżak, who's also done well in the pit stop process. And myself, 833 and Beeswax Racing, really a bit of a loser there. Catching traffic at just the wrong time, I think. Osman probably pulled off the master stroke because he avoided the traffic. Carson and Ramshield racing each other were not a factor for him. Oh, I'll make that to be probably about 8th when everything all settles down. There's a few cars ahead and have still to stop. Krasiak is in the lead. And here comes McKinley on the outside. They're side by side, and McKinley's just driven straight past the Porsche. That could effectively be for the lead of the race. McKinley coming down the back straight towards chicane. Porsche tries to have another look, but he's just too far behind, doesn't have the momentum. Big gap opened up by McKinley. Carried a lot of speed there, just as we cut to them. So McKinley through to the front. The Krasiak had a big lead, really. Oh, he made a mess of the hairpin there. McKinley really overshot. The Porsche's got an opportunity, but McKinley's on the inside for the next time round. Oh, that's a bit cheeky. A bit of a shove there on the Porsche. And he's gone deep again. So the Porsche comes back round again. And it's a drag race down to the first corner. McKinley's got the inside, and they're touching again. Two leaders. Porsche goes wide to try and carry a lot of speed. It's quite dangerous though, because if they do touch, they can spin right out. Nearly touched again. McKinley at the inside line. Looks like he's made that pay off for him. As they come down the crane of curves, he's eased ahead of the Porsche. And he really needs to make a bit of a gap this lap and avoid any of the mistakes that he just made at the end of the previous lap in the hairpins. And certainly try and avoid the contact. Phrase elbows out does come to mind. Going around Coppice now to get onto the back straight. Steelco and Steelco still staying out. McKinley now show, of course, in second place. Steelco is out of position. That was really jinking around behind him. That's a car that's quite a way down on the field. And a bit alarming. Greedy. Who is, he's a bit aggressive there. He needs to avoid contact with all these cars. That is for position with Harkinson. Steelco still staying out ahead. McKinley then is just half a second clear of the Porsche. No mistakes made this time. Oh! Porsche tried to carry a lot of speed through there, but really misjudged it. Caught the back of McKinley. Luckily, neither of them really suffered too badly. Krasiak is now underway, but that mistake has allowed McKinley to really pull a big gap there. Oh, it's a mountain to climb now for Krasiak. Their pace seemed pretty similar for the whole first half of the race. Halen still in third in the Aston Martin. Turning into the Carlos Sainz of Tier 6. Just having a quiet race on their own. They get too far ahead and too far behind. Really make the show. Lordnem now showing in 5th. Steelco will go away, so Lordnem will balance out in 4th. Rishadko has done very well during the pit stop phase. He's gotten through on Hosman. Hosman now down to 7th. Schmijak in 8th. And currently I'm showing in 9th. Won't be happy with that. Was in 5th place going into the pit stops. I've lost 4 places during the pit stop process, so that did not go well. Griffiths trying to hang on the back, just a half a second or so away, but you see this big group of cars now all together, and guess who's at the front of the train again? Somebody needs to tell Lord Nem that he's not actually on police duty and he's not trying to slow down the traffic on the motorway because there's a cow loose. Lord Nem currently shown in 5th. Steelco is in the pits. So Steelco finally going in for his pit stop. And this will now allow the order to correctly sort itself out at the front of a race. McKinley now in the lead. And that mistake by Krasiak where he caught the back of McKinley definitely came off worse in the Porsche. Has really hurt him. He's now 3.2 seconds behind. And he's got Halen not too far behind him. He managed to close into a 1.5 second. Steelco, what have you done? Steelco did his pit stop. We've got a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. So he was looking okay there for a good, decent position perhaps, but that's definitely all over now. Effectively a second pit stop for Steelco. We'll put him right down the back of the field. McKinley hanging on to the front. Got that 3.8 second lead. Just needs to relax now and focus on no mistakes and bringing it home. Still got about 20 minutes to go. Graziak in the Porsche needs to probably refocus and focus on trying to stay away from Halen in third place in the 433 Aston Martin. Lord name for Beeswax Racing. Goes through in another lap. He's got a little bit of a gap there over Rashadko in 5th place. He'd probably no doubt claim Rashadko was the cork in the bottle, not himself. Not having any of it. So, always a bit slack in remembering my teams. But McKinley, the Celtic Bromance, is leading the race. No Steve Carey this week. McKinley, I believe, came second in round 1 at Valencia, so victory here will definitely move him to the top of the Drivers' Championship unless Rashadko can pull himself up from 5th into 2nd. Feels a bit unlikely. Everybody's very much on a similar pace at the front of the field. Karaziak is in 2nd place still, 3.6 seconds. Halen in 3rd. Neither of those drivers in a team. Lord name, as I've mentioned a few times in Beeswax Racing. Rashadko is flying solo. Hosman is part of Amino, Assetto and Hersteller. Let's thank them both for choosing such a convoluted team name. His teammate is Berk Arras. We saw nice as he's still with us. He's in 14th. So Amino Assetto Motor Hersteller. At least got 2 drivers in the points this week. McKinley, of course, driving solo, no carry. Zmijak not in a team either. And Beeswax Racing, of course, is in Beeswax Racing. No teammate for Tom Griffiths this season. We have sorted ourselves out now at the front. So Lord Nem 4th, Rashadko 5th, Hosman 6th, Zmijak 7th, myself in 8th, and Tom Griffiths is in 9th. Kanishki in the Lamborghini rounds out the top 10, but he's quite some distance off the leading group. 5 seconds is the gap. Viking Rat has made his way up to 12th. He's got Ivuchik, 195 Ferrari breathing down his neck, and Arras down in 14th now, just behind them as well, little train. Tuvada in the number 6 BMW is in 15th place, but he's slightly out of contact with those ahead. He's got a comfortable gap behind him to Smith and 777 Aston Martin. Willis P17 in the Audi. He's really dropped off the pace as the Audi. A lot further up earlier on, so he's not had a great race of it. Ramshield we saw earlier, all sorts of consternation with the leaders. I don't think he did anything wrong, but just haven't come out the pits, just in the middle of a bit of a fight. Torres down in P19 in the 707 Porsche. Matthias Martins in the number 80 McLaren. McLaren's supposed to be a bit difficult to drive on the update. It's okay in medium and high speed corners, but you've really got to watch it in slow speed, is what I've heard. Carson definitely did get a bit involved in the fight with the leaders. Down in P21 now in the 897 Ferrari. Mike Tucker down in P22. Reuter in P23 in the 22 Porsche. Foster is in 24th place in the 44 Ferrari. A little bit of damage on the front of the Ferrari as well. Phil in the 712 Ferrari is 25th. Dennis Town 28th in the number 18 BMW in 26th. Tripiana with the Porsche. Tripiana's always driven the Porsche. A little bit out of contact, 9 seconds down from Dennis Town in P27. Okay, sticking to the Bentley. A lot of people gave up on the Bentley. I think this is the only Bentley in season 13 across all 7 tiers. And I think when I was behind him in one of the practice races, it really didn't look like it was holding the track well, moving around a lot. Duque not a familiar territory for him. It's all the way down in P28, 2 seconds adrift of Trippiana. Vecchia in the number 8 Lamborghini is in 29th. Vitska has dropped to 30th in the 81 McLaren. And McCready, saw him doing a bit of a battle earlier on, his number 10 Ferrari is in 31st. Hackinson still going in P32. 77 BMW Steel Co, who had that disastrous double pit stop penalty, is now right down in 33rd place, 14 seconds off Hackinson. Just needs to keep going, see if anything happens ahead of him to create an opportunity. Paul Martin, the other gently Bentley driver with Duque, 34th, so he's not having a great race. Something must have happened to him. Elford is in the pits. That looks like it might be a possible retirement at this stage. Could be his pit stop, but he is 5 laps down, so it looks like the Mercedes of Elford has retired. Kinley continues to build on that lead out front, 3.2 seconds. I think Krasiak is keeping him honest. Yeah. Doesn't seem much. Seems a lot closer on screen. Let's see what it is when the next sector, because that does not look like 3.5 seconds. The BMW behind Krasiak is a back marker. 2.9 seconds. That's dropped a little bit. It's still a fairly chunky gap. Krasiak appears to have knuckled down and pulled that gap back out again on Halen. 2.5 seconds to the Aston Martin in third. Lordnem just settled down for the evening, I think. Looking to hang on to fourth. 9.6 seconds is the gap ahead of Lordnem to Halen, but he's got Rishotko, the winner of round 1 at Valencia, breathing down his neck. Gap less than a second. The other gap's really starting to open up a little bit now. Hosman is now 1.2 seconds behind Rishotko and living bravely there, catching a bit of a dirt coming through the old hairpin. But he's got a gap of 1.4 seconds over Schmijak. And then the gap is 2 seconds back to the Beeswax Racing 833, who cannot shake off Tom Griffith in 9th place. And the gap then to Rukinishki in 10th is 3.5 seconds. So really the closest battle is Tom on the back of the Beeswax Racing inside the top 10. We've got Viking Rat and Aras, a bit of a battle, and Aras having a little bit of luck here. Not a passing place on this track. Come together down the back straight. We've got Tushik just ahead of him. That's a bit of bait, but it looks like maybe the Aras and Rap fighting with each other has allowed Yavushtik to pull away a little bit. The hairpin. Both on different styles of approaches, but the net result is the gap still looks about the same coming out. Trying to close in there on Yavushtik just ahead of him. Aras hanging on for grim death. There's no overspeed there. There's no opportunity, I think, for Aras to make a pass against Viking. Around to start the next lap. With about 15 minutes or so of this race left. Griffith's still trying to some sort of plan to get past the 833 Ferrari, but he won't do it like that. Looks like he's fallen back there. To go through McLean's and Coppice onto the back straight. Still, gap's reasonably big, but still a bit of a train all the way from 4th down to 9th. The chicane they go down towards first hairpin. Watch out for is not mucking up one of the hairpins. It's far too easy to do, outbrake yourself, and all of a sudden you're out on the marbles, going quite slowly, and the car behind you suddenly just shoots past you. It's really hard. There's a Shodco on them. Tom Griffiths and me. Viking Rat and Harris. Vushchik still a bit of a train themselves. Looks like Willis in the Audi has got past Ramshield there. In this last sector going through the hairpins. shield looks like a bad connection again. There's quite a few cars been hanging around the track in this race. A little slide there from the Porsche, that won't help his speed. Might allow Willis to create a bit of a better gap. You can see the car length opening up there as they go down the hill. Up front, just keeps dropping behind. 3-3 Ferrari of beeswax, and then keeps closing back up again. Shudko really closing in on Lord Nem ahead though. Gap now just 0.3. Osman is hovering around in the background, perhaps hoping to collect if they come together. Out with the hairpin. Again, you can just see Tom Griffiths there at the top, catch a little bit of dirt on the exit from the hairpin. Don't know if that's costing him time. Down the hill to go for the 33rd time. Position then, the BMW is really moving around the track a lot, and Rashoko is closed right up on the back of it as the BMW seem to once again get very skittish. But is there going to be a way through? Or is that big fat BMW backside going to get there? He's right on the tail of him. He's almost pushing him around the corner then. He's trying to get up the inside for Coppice, but I don't think that's going to work. There's only one line through Coppice, so it's very difficult to get up the inside and make a pass. Following down through the chicane is really your best chances to disrupt somebody going through the chicane and get an overspeed on them into the hairpins. I think Rashadko's opportunity with that movement from the BMW going down train of curves may have escaped. He's closed right up again though to go through the hairpins. Nem needs to keep his focus on, and Beeswax Racing certainly need the points for the team championship. Make sure he doesn't make any little slip-ups and let the Ferrari through. Up front, something dramatic has happened. Stasiak has closed now within 0.4 of a second of McKinley. Suddenly a lot of battles happening up and down the field. Shudko still tight on the tail of Lord Nem. Moving into the last 10 minutes, I think, of this race. Krasiak out front, suddenly closing in on the leader, who's now 5 seconds clear of Halen, who is nearly 10 seconds clear of Lord Nem. Lord Nem, I think, has got different problems on his hands. He's got... Oh, there's back markers there again. BMW. It's not great timing to be coming across traffic. It switches across the track as myself and Tom Griffiths come through. Lord Nem's under massive pressure. Shudko's trying to have a dive over the inside of the hairpin, but isn't close enough. Where's he got a better exit? They're side by side. No, they're not. BMW's got some decent speed into the next hairpin, but I think Rashadko's too far back now. He's coming under pressure from Hosman. Shmizak can get round safely. Griffiths is behind me. Lord Nem trying to resist a lot of pressure from Rashadko there. But Rashadko now is getting a little bit threatened now by Hosman. Is he going to start looking over his shoulder instead of ahead? There's a lot of curb there, living dangerously. This time it's much better with the old hairpin and the crane of curves. Gap maintained over Rashadko, unlike the last lap where he's breathing right down his neck. The gap may have fallen between McKinley and Krasiak, but now it's opened right back up to 1.5 seconds again. And we got back markers, so we got traffic. Okay, there in between them, so that might well be a factor. All the leaders catching up on the field. It feels like quite a short lap at Donington. You end up getting mixed up with each other. Shudko still trying to come back to the back of Lord Nem, but the gap's too much now. He's got more of a threat from Hosman. Meanwhile, the Ferrari of 833 has got the BMW of Griffiths breathing right down the neck. Griffiths trying to have a look up the inside, going up to the hairpin. Does overshoot a little bit there, goes really wide. Oh, but the Ferraris fluffed it and ended up on the marbles. And that's opened it up for Tom Griffiths. He must have a better overspeed coming into the first corner, and he is ahead of the Ferrari. So, an unfortunate mistake there going through the final corner. Got to keep the pressure up now. Can we get the place back? There's not long left in this race. But still maintaining contact in the Ferrari. Lord Nem is also catching traffic now. Looked a little bit like McLaren's Pizka. It was Pizka, I think. Yeah, it is Pizka. Pulls over for Lord Nem. We are on the same team Discord server, so our teammates as well for endurance. So that really helps Lord Nem a little bit. Pizka's trying not to get her in the way as Ryshotko goes through, goes wide in the hairpin. The Hosman and Schmizek through. Meanwhile, Tom Griffiths did make a mistake, did fluff it under pressure, and the Ferrari for Beeswax is back through again. Only held on to that lead for one lap. But traffic is really becoming a factor in this race. All the leaders coming across traffic and it's affecting the gaps. Raziak back to within a second of McKinley for the lead. Not long left. It looks a lot less than a second there. It looks like about half a second, not 0.8. Traffic looks to have helped Lord Nem. The gap between him and Ryshotko is now 1.3 seconds. Osman, though, is the next big threat. Reasonable gap. Only takes a small mistake from McKinley, and Raziak will be through. I think everybody's tyres are getting a bit worn out here. You can see a few mistakes creeping in for a number of drivers. Oh, the Lamborghini there ahead of McKinley got a lot of dirt there. Not Beckier, it is Beckier just ahead of them. Them now pretty comfortable. Tom Griffiths did drop behind, but as I said, I think everybody's really starting to struggle with tyres. Gap was 1.2 seconds, but it looks like he's trying to close back in on the 833 Ferrari. Raziak gap opens up to 1.3 seconds. Everybody's struggling here towards the end of the race. The gaps are really yo-yoing between everybody. Ryshotko to Lord Nem is now over a second, but he's got Hosman right on his tail. Griffiths is back under a second behind the Ferrari. Anything can happen really at the front of this race, with the exception, well, even the front two. One small mistake and Krasiak close enough. Halen's the only one who's really almost safe in third place. He's got 6 seconds ahead of him to Krasiak, and Lord Nem is nearly 10 seconds behind, so time to pull over, have a cup of tea before restarting. I think the Lord Nem won't have caught him. At the back end of the course, Ryshotko still facing some pressure from Hosman. Or is he? That gap's really opened up. And Ryshotko has got back towards Lord Nem, so I think the sector times are out of date there. Yeah, the gap now for Ryshotko to Hosman is 1.4 seconds. The Ferrari is just 0.8 of a second behind Beeswax Racing, and oh, Lord Nem went really deep then, really deep. That really gave an opportunity for Ryshotko, who's not close enough yet. He needs one or two more of those, give him a chance, and there's just more and more evidence that everybody's tyres are reaching the end of their life as everybody's starting to struggle through a lot of the corners. Into the 39th lap for the leaders. There's only a few minutes left in this race. The end can't come soon enough for Lord Nem. They'll really want to hang on to this 4th place. Pretty good result. Out front, McKinley is coming into the back straight. Raziak is less than a second to meet that gap. Helan 5 seconds down, and Lord Nem is over 10 seconds now. We've still got Rashadko right behind him. Griffiths trying to catch up. We keep jumping around. Anything can happen here, being so close, and definitely with the tyres getting so worn for everybody. Through the chicane to the hairpins. And Rashadko outbrake the BMW. Osman's dropped off a little bit. Some more traffic ahead on the Porsches. Could be Ramshield, being a black one. Does drive a black Porsche, does Ramshield. A bit deep in the hairpin then. We'll soon find out. Oh, shallow. BMW not using all the track there on the exit. But it's somehow working out for the BMW. Osman's still not close enough. Sorry. Rashadko still close enough. Ramshield getting the blue flags. The leader's coming through. I wonder if he realises how close it is for everybody. Up front, pulling over. Ramshield. Good of him, thank you. Raziak's trying to close in on McKinley. With not long left to go in this race. Yep, still too big. He's just reliant really on McKinley making a big mistake. One of the hairpins. Doesn't look to be happening. Traffic ahead, we've got Ramshield here. Oh, and the Porsche of Ramshield and the Ferrari had to take to the grass, so that allowed Griffiths back through. And meanwhile, Griffiths and McKinley's won the race. Krasiak second, Helan in third. Lord Nem will take fourth from the looks of things. Rashadko wasn't able to do anything in the end. But that was unbelievable. In almost the very last corner. Rashadko, Hosman through. Schmijak through. And Beeswax Racing takes 9th on the last corner behind Griffiths. After Ramshield unfortunately got in the way a little bit. Well, let's have a look at the official race results. Although I was a little bit disappointed by that one, to be sure. Let's have a look at the official race results. JP McKinley for Celtic Bromance over the line in first place, followed very closely Mampensic Krasiak in second. Jesse Helan in the Aston Martin did a strong drive, finishing third. Lord Nem for Beeswax Racing did hold on to fourth place in the end, holding off Artem Rashadko in the fifth place, who was trying to get past him for it felt like half the race. Broken Hosman of Amino Assetto Motorhersteller came in sixth place. Philip Schmijak 7th. We just saw Tom Griffiths get 8th on the very last corner, as myself, Steve Bezic for Beeswax Racing. Sadly ran into a back marker. I recall, I don't know what I said in commentary, but it was actually, I believe, Tripiana who I caught up with, unfortunately. He was going very slow coming out of the chicane, and I ended up taking to the grass. Oletski Berensky came in 10th place. Further down, Berke Aras, the other Amino Assetto Motorhersteller driver, came in 12th. Viking Rat for Vozzy Lamas came in 17th. Philip Reuter for the Mambo Rutter Racing Academy came in 24th. Mambo Duque for Gently Bentley Racing, struggling a bit this week, down in 28th. Usually finishes a lot higher. Stuart Pitska for Fuzzy Lamas came in 32nd, so will be outside the points. Tobias Harkinson from Hexagon Nation was 33rd. Paul Martin, the other Gently Bentley Racing driver, was 34th. And the non-finishers, quite a few: Chris Bradbury, Chris Jenkins from Hexagon Nation, Philip Mirafas, John Lanturner, and Tabolix Bequez. Now, what does that mean for the Drivers' Championship? Well, there is a change. JP McKinley, Celtic Bromance, moves ahead of Artem Rashadko At second place at Valencia combined with the first place at Donington, giving him a lead of 23 points over Rashadko. Marcej Karaziak is in third place, just 18 points behind Rashadko. Birken Hosman for Amino Assetto Motorhersteller is in fourth place. Jesse Halen is in fifth. Filip Śmizak is in sixth. Lordnem jumps up to seventh place for Beeswax Racing. Anthony Jose, who I also believe has moved up to a faster tier, so will drop out of Drivers' Championship, but he's still 8th despite missing this race. Philippe Reuter for the Manuel Reuter Racing Academy is in 9th, and Konstantin Levitsky in the Mercedes that we saw once or twice in the race, he's in 10th. Let's have a look at the Teams' Championship then. Celtic Bromance hold on to that lead. JP McKinley and Steve Carey still at the top of the table. Amino Assetto Motorhersteller, they remain in second place. Furkan Hosman and Berkaras. Beeswax Racing, myself and Lord Nem. Couple of good results for both of us tonight, really. I'm both inside the top 10. Moves us up 2 places to third. Manuel Reuter Racing Academy, Philip Reuter and Jonas Kalmwald, they dropped down 1 place. But remember, Jonas Kalmwald has been moved up to a faster tier. So I think unless Philip can get another teammate, that team may be eliminated because you're not allowed to have one driver. Gently Bentley Racing, Paul Martin and Manuel Duque, they also dropped down 1 place to 5th. They both struggled a bit tonight, finished well down the field. Fuzzy Llamas, Viking Rap and Stuart Pietzke finally get off the mark with 18 points, and they're in 6th place. And Hexagon Nation, Chris Jenkins and Tobias Harkinson, they round out the 7th place in the Teams' Championship. So that's it for Donington. Next up will be Laguna Seca, a night race, so going to be really tricky. Keep an eye open for that one coming up soon. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you soon.